Well, what a test match we've had, guys. It's been one of those days again. Gave us whole Edgbaston vibes of 2005 once again. But in the end, such a brilliant day of test cricket, brilliant last 5 days of test cricket. And we can well and truly say that the Ashes are back, baby. It's been an interesting 5 days. And I've got the two gentlemen here who are going to be discussing this with me, Mr. Sheldon Dougherty and Sherman Dougherty as well. He's making his debut on our podcast. So, a round of applause, guys, for Sherman as he makes his podcast debut. And yes, so guys, welcome to Boundary Line Podcast here. My name is Dillon Pink, as you know. And before we go ahead, requesting everyone to please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. I know we've taken some time off, but well, you know what they say, when the time is right, the time is right. And what better time than for an Ashes victory? Australia in the end winning it by just 2 wickets by the barest of margins. I don't know if you can use that, but let's get on with it. Then, gentlemen, what did you think about the test match? We'll go to Sheldon first. Sheldon, brilliant, insane day. I mean, insane last 5 days, I should say. I mean, but just the last day, the last hour of play, what drama, right?
They're absolutely brilliant. I mean, that's what you want, right? From Test cricket. Everyone says Test cricket is dying. Oh, no, it's not. I mean, a brilliant 5 days, the 5 day format, Ashes cricket at its best. Two contrasting styles. Australia, the old school way of we're going to dig in, we're going to take it as long as possible. Baz ball coming at them, and they're just a brilliant 5 days. And, it felt like it was 5 years almost. I mean, my chest was paining, I was sweating throughout the game, and it's a long, long day. And Sherman on the podcast as well. What do you think? First game, while you're on this podcast, what a way to start it, right?
First of all, I just want to say thank you guys for having me on this podcast. I've been following you guys for a while, and it is brilliant what you guys do. I'm just so proud to be on this podcast and keep doing what you guys do. Back to the Ashes, as Sheldon said, it's been crazy 5 days, long 5 days. As he said, I feel tired. I'm genuinely tired by the end of that. But what a test match. I mean, that first ball from Crawley way back when, it feels like years ago. But it's been a brilliant test match. I mean, we're going to go through the points, obviously, but I'm just stunned.
Well, yes, we are all stunned, Sherman. You don't have to be worried about it because we're all stunned there. Because what ebbs and flows there, and we'll be discussing that as we go. But you rightly said, Sherman, that first ball from Zach there, the way he smashed that, I thought that was, that meant it all there, right? In that first ball that went for four, you knew straight away what this test match was going to be. And in the end, Australia, credit to them, the way they played. Yes, there's been a lot of talk about baseball and the way they approached it, but both sides played absolutely fantastic. We'll come to day one there, what happened there. As you said, Zach Crawley punching the first ball for four, set the tone straight away. But in the end, I know in hindsight, everyone's going to be speaking about this, but did you guys think that 393 was enough? Like, honestly, tell me, 393 on that day, declaring and putting in Australia to bat there for about 15 minutes towards the end. Good call, I know, on that day, but now looking at in hindsight, what those few overs could have meant. What do you guys think? Sherman, you go first.
This was always going to be the question. I mean, we saw it on day one when that declaration came. The questions were already being asked. What happens if England lose this test match? Then Bazball is questioned. Then is Stokes really daring or gullible? And that's what we're asking now, because at the end of the day, there were not enough runs out there. We're going to get to it, obviously, but Cummins made that pitch look like he was playing in, I don't know, Pakistan or something. It was a featherbed by the end. The new ball was flying to all parts. Well, my personal opinion, I would have liked 400. I know we've discussed this before that, 400 is just a nice number. In England, you get 400, you usually win the game. So 20 more runs approximately. Who knows? Just to get 2 wickets. They could have used those 20 runs today, I'll tell you that.
Shelly, what did you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to seem like a spokesperson for baseball, but I feel it's the right call. And I know it's easy when you look back at the end of today and say, oh yeah, 40, 50 runs more they would have loved. But if England took some of those catches on day 3 or day 2, they would have been in a better situation. You can't just look at it from how it was on day 1, because easily if Bairstow got a couple of stumpings or, Broad didn't bowl a no ball to take a wicket, it would have been plenty of runs. I mean, I don't think the declaration was a bad call. I thought it was a brave call from Stokes. And it just showed that, okay, it's Ashes cricket, but he's going to keep playing the way he's been playing over the last year. And that's to be aggressive. They attacked on day 1 and they declared and put the Aussies in. Not many teams would have done that on day 1. And yeah, in hindsight, now everyone will say, yeah, bad call. But I feel it was a good call. And maybe the bowlers and the fielders didn't do as much as they probably should have to back up Stokes' declaration.
Rightly said there, Sheldon. I mean, you've always been, flag bearer for basketball in the past 12 months, but nothing against you there. But what about Joe Root? Enough has been spoken about the man, but I think he's all class. If you ask me right now, who's the number one test batsman, I'm going to say Joe Root. I wouldn't say Manas, I wouldn't say Steve Smith, but Joe Root is a class above everyone. The way he played, absolutely brilliant, right?
Basically, I mean, Joe Root, class above. I agree with you, Dil. Like Joe Root, just watching him bat. I mean, I think anyone around the world just watching him play those back foot cover drives, front foot drives. Oh wow! Like it oozes class. The only issue I have, and I know Sheldon's going to disagree with me on this. We've had these conversations many times. Does he really need to skip down the wicket when he's 45, 46 and miss it completely? First stumping, 11,000 runs later and a first stumping with the game in the balance. I mean, would Steve Smith do that? I mean, that's a question for another day. Joe Root has the matches, but then again, we can also say that Joe Root played a reverse scoop, I think we're calling it, of his first ball of day 4. I mean, apparently he told Stuart Broad he just feels like doing it first ball, and Broad said that's the way we play, so why not do it? Let's say Joe Root nicks that to slip first ball of day 4. England wouldn't have even reached 200, I would assume. So I mean, is it going to change? And I mean, the stats back it up that he is playing in this attacking way. I mean, there's an argument to make that does Joe Root need to play this way with everyone else playing it? He could be that rock at number 4, and if he continues playing that way, I'm sure England will get bigger scores. But the stats also do back up that Joe Root is averaging 60 now under the Stokes regime, and his strike rate has gone up, and he's putting a lot of pressure on opposition captains, opposition bowlers. So it's a 50-50 for me. But Joe Root is a man. But Steve Smith, he's had an off test match since you mentioned him. I'm scared. I'm genuinely scared right now.
Sheldon, coming to that point, what Sherman made, Joe Root's, some of those shots, absolutely brilliant, right? Some of those, that lap shot, I don't know what the hell you call it. I'm just going to call it the Joe Root shot there, because insane. 6s and 4s being smashed by this guy like that. I would have never imagined Joe Root played these shots like this. He's never attempted something like that, but there you have it. He comes out morning, first day, and he's trying to play that shot. I mean, the sheer audacity to play that, I mean, speaks volumes of the guy, right?
Yeah, a brilliant batsman. I understand what Sherman was saying, how maybe Root should be the one that plays differently from all. He doesn't need to play the ball attacking way. But I mean, when you look at it, in the first innings, he didn't play that way, right? He played very traditional. Okay, he did a few reverse scoops once he got to 70 plus. But I feel the way he started day 4 is the way he needed to start it, because England were rocked on day 3. They were 30 odd for 2. And that was the one time I'd say England were passive in this game. The way Crawley and Duckett batted when the ball was swinging a bit. And yes, it was swinging. But that's the time they should have attacked more, because that's where they've been playing throughout. So I thought the way Root started day 4 was almost like, okay, we had a bad evening, but I'm going to come out and attack. And to try the reverse scoop, he got 40 or 40 odd balls, right? If I'm not mistaken. And that almost brought England ahead into the game. Yes, coming down the wicket and getting out, it was probably not ideal. But I mean, if everyone else can get out playing that way, maybe Root, after scoring 170 runs in a test match, can afford to get out once like that, right?
Absolutely, Sheldon. Very well said there. I mean, I love the guy for the way he came out and played on that day 4, like you said. That just told me that, okay, this guy is not afraid to take chances. Okay, I get it if you're playing that, like, late in the day, that shot, but to come out and try that shot, the first ball, is just absolutely insane. You would never see a Virat Kohli do that. You would never see a Rohit Sharma do that, or anyone like that, right? For example, but Joe Root, this guy, 11,000 plus runs. He's got so many hundreds behind him. Doesn't give a shit. Just comes out and tries to hit it. First ball. That's the way it has to be played. But he scored a century. But on the other hand, for Australia, Usman Khawaja just seems to be in sound, fine form there. I mean, definitely one of the top batters in the past year and a half. Absolutely brilliant, Sheldon. The way he played, I thought, really put Australia into the game there, right?
Yeah, Dylan, if you were to tell me that Smith and Labuschagne wouldn't score in the test match and Australia would win, and Usman Khawaja get man of the match, I think everyone in England would have been shocked pre-game, because his record in England was shocking before this game. I believe he was averaging like 20 odd, and the way he came on and he just batted like an old school England opener, ones that obviously now they've pushed aside, in order to play that attacking way. And it's almost like it shows that there is still place for that in Test cricket where you can dig in and you can just, bowl the opposition and just bat and bat and bat. And Khawaja, brilliant knock. When honestly, on day two, when he was batting, it looked like Australia out of the game. When Smith got out, by Stokes, LBW, you thought, oh my God, if England get one or two more wickets here, it's game over. I thought Khawaja's innings was brilliant and rightfully so man of the match as well, because in both innings, he was the rock that, was between England and a win.
Sherman, one question that I want to ask you, two guys there in the team for England who are back in the side there, Johnny Bairstow, Moeen Ali coming back. How did you think they do? Johnny Bairstow, of course, that first innings played really well, but wicket keeping, I thought he let those few chances go. Would England be looking back and thinking that, man, if he had to get that right at that end, probably would have looked a lot more different. Moeen Ali also the finger, unfortunate. So what did you think about that? Both these guys back into the test scene after so long.
I just want to say that, first of all, before I go on the bad things, that I love both of them. I think they suit Bazball as per what, Stokes and McCullum have said they want from a type of player. Because, I believe Stokes, sorry to go slightly off topic, but Stokes actually said in an interview, if Alistair Cook, one of England's all-time greats, was playing right now, he wouldn't get into this team because of the style of play. And since we were on Khawaja, Khawaja wouldn't get into this England team just because of that style of play. Now, Bairstow and Moeen are that type of player, but Stokes has always said that he doesn't really care about practice and he doesn't care about, having red ball cricket under your belt, which is why he got Moeen back into the team, not playing red ball cricket for at least 2-3 years now.
Yeah.
And honestly, many people did think it was the right decision at the time, just based on the fact that Moeen has been England's most successful spinner since the days of Graham Swan. Moeen is not Swan level, but he's as close as England have got in the time period after Swan.
Yeah.
So I see the allure of Moeen Ali, but the problem is fitness. And it's not just, your hamstrings, your back, it's your fingers. That is fitness. Because if Moeen Ali hasn't spun a ball for, like a whole test match, a whole 80 overs in a day, how will he do it in a test match immediately without any practice? It just doesn't make any sense. Right? Yeah. Obviously, that was going to happen because he's best been playing T20 cricket. He's been in the IPL. He's hardly bowled any overs. So how can you expect a man to come in and bowl 20, 25 overs a day? He is expected to hold up an end, which is what Jack Leach did really well. Yeah. Yeah. Now we see what Jack Leach did for Bazball. It was that holding up job that they needed. They needed that today. And thank God that Joe Root was able to come through for England today. But if Joe Root was hit out of the attack, which should have happened, England would be in deep trouble. So it all stems from the start. Just on Moeen, I think it was the right decision, but he should have been asked to go play some cricket, go play a warm-up match, get those fingers ready. Just walk into a test match, you're always going to have a problem like this. It's a finger injury. How is he going to spin the ball? You could tell Nathan Lyon was getting more reps. The occasional one would spin, obviously, if you grip it. But if you have an injury on that finger, there's no way. You saw he changed his grip as well.
Exactly.
He changed his grip to accommodate that injury. That means he's not spinning the ball properly, and he won't get reps. So we wouldn't know what kind of impact a proper off spinner would have had on that wicket with all the lefties and all. Yes, the occasional one spun, but maybe he could have done more damage. Where England go from here, I don't know. Johnny Bairstow is a different thing altogether because he is one of England's best batsmen, Mr. Bazball, some call him.
Yeah.
So to get him into the team, who do you drop, right? So I like Johnny. I think he also needed more practice personally. I want Johnny in the team. Number 7, when you're down the tail, you want that attacking wicket keeper who can get you that quick enough. 50, 100 runs. I prefer that to Ben Foakes, who was very unlucky to miss out for sure. But I think Johnny just needs some practice. We've seen Johnny for many years keep before. He's just out of practice and he's coming off a horrific injury. So it's just a little more time needed. But with Moeen, it's who do you go to? That's a question I would ask anyone who wants to mention drop Johnny, drop Moeen. Where do you go? I'm looking at the spinners right now. We have Matt Parkinson, who's looking for a new county right now, who probably was the next guy. Rayan Ahmed, he's 18 years old. Can you really expect him to hold up an end? Sure, he can bowl the occasional amazing delivery, but what Moeen's going to give you now, there's no one in county cricket. I can't think of anyone. They'll do a holding job, but it's going to be tough if Moeen's out.
Yeah, absolutely. There, difficult choice there for England there, but I felt the team was good. The overall balance of the team was good. Johnny Bairstow, Moeen Ali there in the team, it was good there. But Sheldon, important one for you, Nathan Lyon. What can this man not do? test match after test match. We've seen that in India as well, the Border Gavaskar Trophy, flat surfaces, any kind of surface you give this guy, he picks up wickets, Sheldon. And here, even in this test match there, England really playing so well, he comes in and picks 8 wickets in the test match. I mean, this guy's an absolute beast, right?
Yeah, Dil, I mean, he's often underrated and often, like put down because Australia had the greatest spinner ever in Shane Warne. And obviously, like most people just think there's no other spinner other than Shane Warne who's ever bowled in Australia, the way people talk about it. But he's turned into a fantastic off spinner. I mean, he just does it everywhere. And he did really well even last time he came to England. And even in Australia, whenever they go there, he does well. And I thought the way he bowled in this game was really good, especially on day one. And on a pitch which didn't offer that much. But I think he did show as well that, okay, if you keep pitching in the right areas, there is a bit of turn, especially to the left-handers outside off stump. He did bowl really well. And I thought he was not afraid to flight it. Like, I thought even when Cummins did go a bit defensive, like, Lyon still tried to attack with his line and lengths, and he did take a lot of crucial wickets throughout the game, I felt.
Yeah, because he's now closing in on 500 wickets now? 496,
I think 9 wickets away.
He's 494, I think, last when I seen that.
Yeah.
So 6 wickets away, 5 wickets away. So that's going to be brilliant there, guys. But another question there, what I want to ask about is Stuart Broad. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal in this test match there. Coming back into the side there, a lot has been said, can he do the job still? Because England have a really good team. They've got Ollie Robinson, they got Mark Wood, they got Chris Woakes, they've got so many guys that do bowl, but Stuart Broad just showed why he's all class, right, Sherman?
Stuart Broad, what else can we say about him? Mr. Ashes cricket, the great enemy of Australia. They love him, they hate him. But wow, that spell to Labuschagne and Smith yesterday, I think was, wow. Like, I didn't expect that personally myself. And I like Stuart Broad a lot. I mean, what's the guy coming up to 37, 38 now? And still to bowl like that? How do you drop Stuart Broad now? I know there's a case to be made for rotation, and I believe many of us said that Broad shouldn't be starting this game, that it was going to be Anderson, Robinson, and probably Wood to give us the extra pace. But who would we drop now? Wood? Broad for Wood. I mean, now is it Anderson? I mean, Robinson, I have no idea. But just on Stuart Broad, amazing, undroppable, I would say, for the second test. He looked out of it, though, by the end. He gave his heart and soul. He did everything possible to get into that Australian low order, to get us there, to get us over the line. But at the end of the day, it was just not meant to be. On another day, it would have been Stuart Broad's test.
Yeah, absolutely. On another day, it could have gone anyway. And that's what I wanted to discuss with you guys, is that this test match, irrespective of how it went, was one for the ages. It just summed up what test cricket is all about, that you can never predict till the last day, especially in a test match, where it's going to turn. You saw how the match went. It ebbed and flowed. One session it was England, and next start it's Australia. Just kept going with that for the last 4-5 days, and even into this last start, we didn't know who was going to win there. But Sheldon, just coming to the last day drama there, please tell me you had some Edgbaston vibes. Like this match was giving you 2005 Edgbaston vibes all over again, right? Because it was that way. I mean, 282 to get, 281 to get odd. Same thing what happened in 2005, 8 wickets down here. Same thing that happened there. Lee and Shane Warne put on that partnership, so everything was happening that way. And you were just thinking no, this cannot happen again, right?
Yeah, it was insane. And I mean, a word on Pat Cummins as well. I think we three often criticized him during the game for his captaincy.
Yeah, I did.
And I think a lot of people
criticize.
I think you did, Del. I think you did at one point. But I mean, a lot of people, and not only us, I'm sure all around the world, even on commentary, poor Pat Cummins was being bashed all around the park in Australia. And I mean, it's just fitting that, that he would hit the winning runs and play a captain's knock to take Australia home. I mean, you think of Cummins and the way this year's gone from as well. He lost his mother during the India series early and had to leave early. Yeah. And then, he came back, and it's almost like a fairy tale story that he would win the World Test Championship as captain and now lead Australia to a first test win as well. And just for Cummins, a bit of a redemption story arc going on as well. And for him to hit the winning runs as captain and to almost silence a few of the critics he's had during the game as well. But yeah, just that moment I want to talk about.
Yeah. But Sherman, that partnership between Pat Cummins and Nathan Lyon, they're 50 plus there. Do you think that England missed something there? Because Nathan Lyon, not the best batsman, we all know that, not the best tail ender, in that squad there. Would you have felt that, England may have missed something there? If they probably had to get Nathan Lyon out, game could have gone a whole different way.
Oh, that last hour or so, I think I was hiding behind my sofa. You just couldn't. You wanted to watch, but you didn't want to watch. Oh, it was crazy. Could England have done more? Hard to say, honestly. I thought about this a lot when they were taking the old ball. Some felt they were taking too long with it, bowling the short ball tactic a little too long. But then we saw they went to the new ball. They went to the new ball. They bowled fuller. They bowled attacking lengths. But you saw how easy it was with the new ball. It was Lion was getting Lion. I still remember that scoop or whatever. Lion played like a
Yeah.
flamingo shot over mid on. I was like,
Yeah.
what is this? Who's this guy? I think that's what Stokes was really afraid of, to go to the new ball, that he thought it would come onto the bat and the runs would flow. And that's exactly what happened. As soon as they went to the new ball, those 30 runs were wiped out like that. Cummins and Lion were just, even if it was ones, even if it was twos, it just was easier to get it off the straight. But when they had the older ball, I think his tactic was to, make them hit it to backward point, to fine leg, and the short ball tactic was sort of working to an extent. Yes, they're not getting the wickets, but the runs were not coming that quickly, which is why he held off on it. It was a gamble, and in hindsight, everything you could say he could have done this, he could have done that, but I think that drop catch was the main moment. If you want me to be honest, I think if
You're being
Ben
harsh.
Stokes,
You're being harsh on Ben Stokes now, bro.
if Ben
That's-
Stokes, I mean, we expect Ben Stokes to take it.
No.
I mean, if when he
that was
takes
so
it,
tough, man. That was so
I
tough.
know, but we've seen it in the World Cup, right? You can't do this, Ben Stokes. Well, he did it today, and he dropped it.
Oh, that's,
So
Shelly, you want to say something for sure, I know.
yeah, I mean, hey, you know me, I call him Superman. He's England's Superman. If we call him Superman, I expect you tell me there's someone else over there, Zach Crawley or something, I'm expecting him to drop that. But Ben Stokes
Oh,
got him in
Zach.
position.
Bro, everyone will
Yeah.
expect Zach Crawley to not
Zach,
even attempt
Zach,
for
we
the
love
catch.
you, but you're
Oh,
not
there
Ben
you go.
Stokes. You're
That
not
probably
Ben
being
Stokes,
sledged on this
okay?
podcast even after
So,
making
but
50.
Zach, you're good, but you're not Ben Stokes. So, I mean, once it's not just me. I'm saying if Ben Stokes is in that position and you ask him, do you think he should have taken that catch? He would say 9 times out of 10 he would have taken that, just because he sets those high standards for himself. And I think if I'm not saying anything that okay he dropped the match or something, but if Ben Stokes takes that catch, England win. It's as simple as that. I don't think, what was it, 30 runs left. There's no way Hazelwood
130,
and
yeah.
Cummins are getting there. So yeah, I would say that was the turning point for me. Like every run chase in a test match at the end has a turning point. I think what was it? Lion fumbling it at Headingley, and then I think also there was one catch drop down at third man. There's always moments you will get chances. And unfortunately, once that chance went, Cummins and Lion just didn't give them another one.
Well, you're absolutely right, Sherman, there. Like, in hindsight, people will look back and, probably say that, yes, Ben Stokes could have done that. And although I still feel you're too harsh on him, to take that catch. But like you said, that's the standard he said there. Sheldon, what did you think about that final day, that final last 2 hours at least? We had rain there. People didn't know when the game was going to start there, but it was all set up for an exciting day, Sheldon. And in the end, I feel that people have got their money's worth.
You're absolutely right, Dil. I thought England did as well as they could have. I was surprised by the way Australia played for the first half of the day. I thought they were too passive early on, Dil, the way they were batting.
For sure.
I thought the way they were letting Root as well bowl, it was almost like it was Muralitharan bowling. The way they were just letting him bowl.
Muralitharan, bro. It's Muralitharan.
Yeah, ball after ball after ball, they just let him, and it was not doing that much, the pitch. It was not a minefield, that's for sure. And they were just letting Robinson and Broad and Anderson and just bowl spell after spell. And that's putting more pressure on them. It almost like had to happen that Cummins and Lion actually started trying to do something. That's when Australia actually thought, okay, maybe we can bat on this pitch, and we can actually score some runs if we want. I was, very surprised by the way they approached the start of the day, especially like Head and Carey and Green as well. I was very surprised by the start. And I thought England did as well as they possibly could have done today.
But an exciting day, man. Like really, really exciting day we've had there. Like, even if you were a neutral fan, right? You didn't know which way the game was going, and you want England to win, but you see the Aussies also, like, they also wanted so badly, and you just didn't know which side this game was going. And that's the beauty of Test cricket. Absolutely love it. Tell me a better format in cricket. If it's not Test cricket, you're not my friend. Right? Yeah. But Sheldon and Sherman, a word on Usman Khawaja, the man of the match. And rightly so, I feel, because I thought his knock, I think, kind of put Australia back into the game. And even today, the way he played,
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant. Holding one end, I know right now, if Australia had to lose, it would have been like, it's because of Khwaja, he didn't play quick enough. But with those many overs left in the day, I thought it was fine. The way he was going about it, I thought it was fine. What did you guys think? Sheldon, go first.
Yeah, probably the difference in the end, between the two sides when it comes to his runs in the first innings as well. Getting Australia that close to about 20 runs in the first innings. And yeah, today as well, he batted really long and almost took the game as long as he could until, Cummins and Lyon came in the end and finished the job. So yeah, a brilliant game for Khawaja. And I even quite liked the celebration in the first innings. You love to see passion. And, obviously there were some comments, some sledging that happens during the game. But I love it. That's all a part of the game. If you're not showing passion, don't play the game. We don't want to see robots. If we want to see robots, we like go play PS or something. Like we want to see the passion. And Robinson, Khawaja was all brilliant. And yeah, I quite loved the passion and the celebrations as well. Even Cummins in the end, it just shows how much they wanted and just how much they love Test cricket and the Ashes. Absolutely brilliant.
Sherman, what did you think overall, Sherman? If you had to say anything about this match, there, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. But according to you, what did you feel that this match was?
Honestly, it's an all-time classic, right? It's going to go down in folklore as one of the great test matches. I mean, it ebbed and flowed, as you said, right? It could have gone either way. I mean, if you saw Crick Quiz, right? It kept going to 50% England, 50% Australia, 50% England. Like,
Yeah.
I think the whole test match was like that. That was crazy. Like, I mean, very few test matches go like that because obviously one team dominates and very rarely does it ebb and flow like that. I personally really enjoyed the test match as much as you can as a supporter of either team, I guess. Because it was nerve-wracking, it was tense, and I can't believe we have 4 more of these. Just a quick word on Khawaja. I'm not his biggest fan. I'm sure you guys know that.
What a guy,
I did
Sheldon.
But I felt he was a little passive in the morning. I agree with Sheldon on that. I do feel he could have played a little bit. I'm not saying hit boundaries. I'm saying, rotate the strike a little bit more. He put a bit of pressure on his partners to play the big shots, like when Green came out, or even when Carey came out. There's a lot of pressure on them to get the runs then, because he stayed there, no doubt. He held up an end, but a bowler can hold up an end, right? Like that, and that's fine. He did his job as to stay there, keep everyone company, and the attacking players can play. So I mean, that's kind of what we're asking of Joe Root to do, right? I mean, when I can't criticize Khawaja and say Joe Root should be doing something similar. So I'm not going to do that and be hypocritical. But I do feel he was a little passive. His first innings, brilliant. So I'm not going to say anything about that. But the second innings, a little passive in the morning. I would have liked if he went for the runs a bit more. But besides that, Cummins, oh my God, this is going to be in my nightmares for the rest of my life. How in holy hell did Pat Cummins do that? But 4 more test matches. So let's see if Cummins can do it again.
Yeah, final word, guys, on the test match there. I know, how can we not discuss about this without, mentioning it in this podcast here? We can't finish this podcast without mentioning about it. So here's me asking you guys, both of you all there, that I know Ben Stokes, Brendan McCullum, the whole baseball thing has been going around and said that we're going to keep playing like this. Yes, I know. A lot of talk, right? But I felt whatever they've done, it's been brilliant. They've entertained the crowd, whatever. I thought Ben Stokes, like you guys said, he made the right calls there. But do you think it's going to work in an Ashes thing? I think that's the big thing around it. Do you think it's going to work? Is it worth trying out in the Ashes when there's so much at stake? There's so much at stake. The stakes are so higher. Is it worth taking those risks rather than, play a natural thing? Like, guys, Zach Crawley, you play a natural game. You want to take your time, take your time. You don't have to go after it. Do you think that because what I feel, and I think they even mentioned that, post game there, that the Aussies feel that, it's a bit too rash. When you talk about the Ashes, they feel like it's too rash. So what do you guys think? Is it too much for the Ashes? Do you pick, because you guys all know, both of you know, and I think everyone knows it, that how important the Ashes is. I mean, Australia will pick the Ashes over the World Test Championship. I can tell you that now. They do anything, right, for that. So what do you guys think? Do you think they have to go the same way in the next test?
What I would say is that
somehow, like, he doesn't. The thing about Australia, Sheldon is on his face.
Yeah.
What do I do with these freaking guys? Like,
yeah, they're
like, why do you
annoying
make these
cousins from
comments?
across the pond you just don't want to hang out with, but they keep coming and irritating you. And how many nightmares, Sheldon, I know he knows this, how many nightmares do we have of Australia? In Australia usually, but now we have one in England, so this is going to haunt for a while. But what I will say about baseball, let's say that, like Stokes said this for 13 test matches, they won what, 11? And then he comes to the Ashes and he says, okay, guys, go play your natural way, right? And then it fails. Remember, England were 1 from 13 in the last test cycle. 1 from 13. Oh my God. Is that like the worst test team in the world? Like, no, with all due respect to Bangladesh, Zimbabwe, I'm pretty sure their records were better. I'm pretty sure England were near the bottom of the
True.
test table.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
in order to change, he had to get everyone to buy into that. You know, I'm sure baseball is just a word, by the way. From Nasser Hussain actually just when he went to the dressing room, he actually did see. He's like, you know, it from the outside, it seems like okay, it's all this bravado, all this ego, like come out, play your attacking shots and all. But he says inside, McCullum is actually very thoughtful. He actually plans properly.
Yeah, of
It's
course.
just
Goes without
yeah,
saying. Yeah.
yeah, for sure, no doubt. So basketball is a word. It's a word coined by commentators to show what England are doing. What I'm telling you, what basketball really is that he wants them to be positive in whatever they do. That's all. Take the positive option. If you want to defend positive. Stokes defended. Stokes came out in the second innings and he defended for a long time. I think it was 13 balls. All he says is don't do anything half-hearted. So my thing with basketball is keep doing it. But know the situations. I'm sorry, I know I'm taking a while with this, but there is something I want to bring up. When Owen Morgan in 2015 changed the white ball setup for England, he did something similar. And Stokes, he hasn't fully admitted it, but I'm pretty sure that's where he got the inspiration from. And if you remember those first few games when England scored 400 and all, what Morgan said, they're going to have car crashes. And boy, did they have car crashes. They fell apart. They were 100 all out, 80 all out. But they would get you that 400 some days. They would get you the 3. He wanted them to test where the upper reaches were. Because I'm telling you, England have played Australia. This basketball thing is not really for England. In England, it's for the next Ashes series. Yes, England could make swinging pitches. Yes, England could get Jimmy turning around corners, turning Steve Smith inside out, and it'll all be great. But Stokes wants to make England a better cricket team. That when they go away, Pakistan, let's talk about Pakistan, 3-0 in Pakistan. That's what baseball did because his bowlers learned to bowl on flat wickets. It's not that, oh, it's flat. We don't get swing. What do we do now? So yes, there will be bad days, but if Stokes changes now, he's a hypocrite. His team will see him as an hypocrite. So that's why no matter what happens in this Ashes series, they could go down in flames like 4-5-0. But personally, I was a big critic of baseball. Sheldon will know this. He's not. He loves baseball. But till maybe just before the Ashes, I think till Pakistan, actually. Pakistan convinced me. When England went to Pakistan and they scored 500 in a day on one of the flattest pitches I've seen in my life and gave themselves enough time to bowl Pakistan out twice, that was what convinced me. I was like, oh, so you are looking to win no matter what. Yes, there'll be bad days. You won't always win 3-0 in Pakistan. I'm sure they'll go to India. Coming up in the winter, we'll see. And it's going to be a struggle. But we've seen them go and play the other way. And it's been a disaster. It's been a train wreck. Let's be honest. They've gone to Australia. What was it? 5-0, 4-0, 4-0. Those are the last 3 series, guys. What can we do different to change that? When we go to India, when we go to Australia, how can we compete? No, it'll not swing. No, it will not seam all the time. You have to sort that out. So I would stick with it. No matter what happens in the series, if England are truly going to become like Australia, like India, to compete on the Test Championship level and win away from home consistently, their bowlers need to learn how to get wickets on flat wickets and how to score runs quickly.
Well, Sheldon, those are some really strong points and some strong words there by Sherman, right, Sheldon? But what do you have to say on this, Sheldon? I know you like this basketball thing that's been going on now for the past year and a half there, but what do you think is going to happen? Sherman said that they either go downhill 5-0 or they'll probably win. What do you think is now going to be the approach? Because Australia's gone 1-up.
I think the press will be all over them now. Every day there'll be an article saying, oh, Stokes should have declared all this. I'm like, stay the same. Don't change it all. Because last summer, England played South Africa. They got demolished first game. And they went baseballing in, probably swinging conditions. And they lost by an innings. That was the first loss under this regime as well. And everyone after that game said, oh, it's over. It was a good run. We won like 4 or 5 games. It's over now. But no, you know what happened in the second game? They adapted. Stokes played his best innings of the baseball era. He had 100 in swinging conditions. He and Ben Foakes.
Remember that match,
his name is going to come up in the press every day now till the second test. I think, yes, you can be aggressive. yes, they can keep attacking, but they also can adapt. I think Stokes' innings showed how it can really work, because yes, there'll be times where you have to go hard, like Root showed as well, and Crawley on the opening day. But there will be times when yes, you have to stick it out, like Stokes and Bairstow did do for a while yesterday. So I think that will be the key. But I think yeah, don't change anything. Go harder at Australia next game. That's what I would say.
Damn, go harder is the key there. But yes, the next test, guys, starts in less than a week's time. Technically a week's time from now, 28th of June there at Lord's, the iconic venue there. But all in all, what a test match this has been. I know I've said this a lot of times there, but it was so nerve-wracking there, even for a neutral fan. If you were watching, it kept swinging here and there. And in the end, there, Pat Cummins and Nathan Lyon finishing it off there with a 55-run stand, I guess. And in the end, Pat Cummins playing a knock there to just take Australia home and go one up in the all important Ashes series here, 2023 being played in England. But that's it from us, guys. Do stay tuned for more updates on Boundary Line Podcast there. We'll bring you all the action from the second test and some more reviews. As usual, if you have any ideas for our channel, do leave it down in the comment section and let us know what you thought about the match below in the comment section as well. Do follow us on Instagram. The handle's down there in the description, and we'll catch you soon. Bye.